Let's do one more. Another context that we could use with you as adults where percentages are used and maybe with some kids, but the idea of commission. If you were in the sales force, you might earn a commission for any sales that you produce. And so let's put Ron in a situation where he sells $125,000 worth of product during a month. Maybe he's a car salesman or maybe some real estate, I don't know, something, $125,000, and he earns 4.5% commission. That is, he gets a percentage of the amount that he sold, $125,000. So in this case, $125,000 is the total amount. That's the 100% is $125,000. So how much money does he earn? Well, he gets 4.5%. So he gets, here's 1%, he gets one of the squares, he gets one of the squares, he gets one of the squares, he gets one of the squares. There's four of them, and then he gets a half a square. So Ron gets 4.5%. So we want to figure out how much money would be in this 4.5 of the squares. Well, let's start by figuring out how much money would be in one of the squares. So if you took $125,000, that's all 100 squares, 100%, and divided it by 100, that would give you how much would go in each square. And dividing by 100 in this case will give 1250. So each square is worth 1250. How many squares do I have? 4.5. So I have 4.5 copies of 1250. So you can grab a calculator and see how much money does Ron make that month. 4.5 copies of 1250 is, so Ron makes $56.25 that month from his commission. Now there might be, in terms of sales force, there might be other income as well, but just from the commission of sales, he's going to make $5,625 in that month. All right, now I know that you've probably seen some algorithms for this, but I want to emphasize the thinking. 100, think about what all the meanings. 100% means 100 of these 1% squares. There's 100 squares. Percent means per 100. And so my first thought is take all the money and split it up into 100 squares. Therefore, each square is worth 1250. For 4.5%, that means I have 4 full squares and then a half a square. So I have 4 full 1250s plus a half a 1250. I have 4.5 1250s, which is 56.25. Now, what we're going to do now is look back at these 3 examples and see if you can generate some common efficiencies so we can connect it to some of the algorithms you've probably learned about percentages, and we can do a little bit more work to understand how percentages work. All right, here we go.